Hey y'all, happy Monday evening. I have Bep by Joy Lynn Wong. I have baby Aiden with me. I had to comb his hair. He was needing a hair combing. So I have been thinking that I need to get a second person, like a backup plan. I need a second person in command. That way, if something should ever happen and I am in the middle of a transaction with a client or a customer, that my husband can communicate for me, or someone can communicate on my behalf and say, hey, this is what's going on. This is how long it's going to be going on. And if you want to, you can get your money back, or you can hold tight until XYZ or whatever situation is. Because, God forbid, we don't want a situation, but life do be happening, right? And you don't want a reputation of not coming through for people who have put down their hard-earned money for a sale or for a transaction. So I have been thinking about that I need somebody that has access, which would be my husband, to my information and can help people if they should need that in an emergency, right? So I have been thinking through that and trying to think, let me have like a second in command person for emergencies. And then I did find some extra hair in my hair box, and I did start rooting Layla asleep. And hopefully that hair will help me to finish her, but if not, then she will be halfway rooted and wait until I can order that hair again, because now that I've used that hair, I gotta have that hair. So we'll see how far it goes, but if not, she'll just wait till I get some more. But it might be enough for me to finish, because it was enough. It was a good amount of bundles, but we'll see how many we get through. And then after Layla asleep, then I'll start rooting Flora, because that's the order that I made them in. And Ravi has made it into the plastic containers, because Ravi is a big boy or big girl. That's a big baby. That's a big kid. That Ravi kit, that's a nice size kit. It's not a toddler size, but it's not newborn either. And I think it's a little bigger than 3 months. And it has a belly plate with it. But I'm looking forward to painting Ravi, because the limbs are a nice size, and it's going to really be fun to do the nails on that kit, because the nail beds are more visible and a lot larger. So I'm definitely excited about that. I think when I paint Little Prim, so I have the kit for Little Prim, but I haven't picked it out my little mug yet, so I don't know if Little Prim is going to be next or the other kit is going to be next, because there's another kit in the cup. But when I paint Little Prim, I'm going to need some really teensy-weensy tools to paint with. And I'm going to really have to pay attention to detail, because that kit is really, 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 really tiny in size, right? Little Prim. Also, I just wanted to clarify, I have given 7 kits to clients, and I had something special that I was working on, regarding that. Those were not paid kits. So the kit that I'm working on, the Realborn Layla Asleep, when I get ready, I'm going to do a video. And I will say the kit is completed. I will put out the photos of the completed kit. And I will say, you know, if you are interested in purchasing, please contact me. And then I will privately go over how much that kit is going to cost. That kit is 18 inches. It is going to be rooted. It has eyebrows that I did with Prisma pencils, but most of my babies I do Prisma pencils. Now Aiden, I rooted his and he got little bushy eyebrows that I rooted in, but most of my other babies that I made, they all have the Prisma pencil eyebrows, except Mila. Mila has rooted eyebrows as well. But he is going to be rooted. He does have skin texture. So if you don't like skin texture and you're not interested in skin texture, I would not contact me because the baby has skin texture. I'm learning now to be very clear with the details of the kit, because that's going to determine if people want to buy, and it'll avoid people wasting their time to contact you if you just put out there the details. And I'm also going to challenge myself that I am not going to break my process anymore. If a kit is a work in progress, I am going to, and people reach out to me, I'm going to ask people to wait until I'm finished the kit. And then we can talk about whether or not, you know, they want to purchase it. Because when a kit is halfway through the process, you know, that's not how I want to put my work out there. I want to make sure that the baby is completed, that it represents me well, because I want my work out in the streets representing me well. I don't want, like, you wouldn't go to Nissan or Mazda and say, oh, give me that car, but take the wheels off. Like, you wouldn't do that. That doesn't represent them well. So I want to make sure that when I put my work out, that it represents me well. It represents me as an artist, and it speaks to my skill set. I'm going to make sure that moving forward, that if someone contacts me in the midst of me doing a work in progress, that I keep it as a work in progress, and I just say, oh, the baby is not finished yet. When I finish the baby will be available for sale. I think that's something that I'm going to try to stick to. You know, this is a learning process. You know, as you are going through this process, you're learning. You know, it's so funny how being on this side is a little different now, right? As a person who is, you know, creating babies and going, you know, buying materials, buying supplies, in the process of possibly selling a kit. As you go through experiences, it changes your perspective on why someone made a decision or didn't make a decision to do something. And it's so funny how you think you can speak on something, but you really can't until you go through it and you experience it. That changes your opinion or changes your values on why you will and will not do something based on your experiences. And you know, it's also good to have balance. You know, you don't want to go overboard because you had a bad experience and ruin everybody else's experience. You know, I want to have balance, but I think that experiences help you to shape and change what you think and what you believe over time. because you have to protect yourself, and you also have to protect the customers, and you also want to do things that work well in the reborn community, that foster community, that foster togetherness, that fosters kindness, that all of that creates the experience for the person, not just the baby, but the customer service, how you treat people or don't treat people. All of that creates the experience, right? And so, which leads me to a post that I made. It is so important that when you're in someone's space, if they value something, that you respect that. Most of the time, if I hit a join button for a group, that group is going to tell me their name with the do's and don'ts to be a part of that group. And then at the bottom, they usually ask you to put a check mark and agree to not do certain things, right? And so all I'm saying is, when I'm in a group, I just want to respect what that group stands for or what they value. And if I can't, then I have to respectfully decline and move on to, where I'm supposed to be or whatever. But anyway, that was just something that was on my mind. And so when I am done the Real Born Layla Asleep, I will create a video. I will make sure that I specifically specify that this is the video for presenting the Real Born Layla Asleep as the kit that I want to sell. I'll give the details of how I can be reached, and I will move forward with selling that kit. But as of right now, it is a work in progress. It is my plan to sell the kit. However, if something happens to that kit between now and the end, and I feel like it is not representative of who I am, I may snatch it back and say, I'm not selling that kit, or I may, break down and say, well, I'm going to sell the kit, but I'm going to have to sell it at a reduced price as opposed to what I want to sell it for, right? And when I meet with the person, I do have an application that I made, and it goes through how I'm charging for the kit and what I'm charging for the kit and why. And I think I went over this in a previous video. So pretty much when I sell a kit, I'm going to charge for the kit, the blank kit, the doe suede body, the rooting, the hair, my work, a box opening of your choice. You can have no box opening, a $50 box opening, a $100 box opening. And then I'm going to charge for the shipping and handling. Those are the things that I'm going to be thinking about as I price the baby. And when I meet with the client, based on, if one client picked the $50 box opening, of course, their baby is going to be $50 cheaper than the person who picked the $100 box opening. If somebody here in Maryland picks the baby and I can deliver their baby is going to be cheaper than the person that lives in Wyoming who buys the baby, and I got to ship the baby to Wyoming. I just, made that up off the top of my head. So, based on what you select when I meet with you will change the price of the doll. Because it's not just about the doll. It's about all of the experience that comes with buying a reborn, If you don't get no box opening, obviously your baby is going to be cheaper than someone if they wanted a box opening with their baby. So those are just some things, you know, you may want to think about. And just a footnote, and I'm putting this out here now so you don't waste your time. When I do put this baby out there, this baby has skin texture. So if you don't like skin texture, then you shouldn't buy the baby because it has skin texture. Like, I'm not gonna be able to remove that. That's not something that I can take off of the baby. So I'll talk more about that though when I actually decide that yes, I am officially selling the Real Born Layla Asleep. I'll talk more about that then. But just based on my experience, I'm learning, number one, that I am going to, if I am in the middle of a work in progress, I'm going to decline any offers for a person to start the purchasing process. If I'm not finished the baby, it's not finished. It's not ready for sale. The baby, you know, I'm just gonna leave it that way. It's not finished. It's not ready. I'm not gonna sell it that way because I want the baby and my work to represent me well. And number two, I'm gonna make sure that when I put the baby out, that I am ready to put it out and I have all the details. Like what is the kit? Do I have the COA and all of that ready? Did I weigh the baby? You know, any features that might be on the baby, like that Real Born Layla Asleep has a mole. If you don't like moles and you're not interested in a mole, then it's no point in you reaching out because I can't take the mole off the baby. That the baby has skin texture. It's just certain things now that I'm going to be, and definitely that I'm going to hold the baby so people can see what the baby looks like. So I'm going to make sure that when I post the Real Born Layla Asleep, that I hold that baby and I say, okay, this is the baby for sale. This is what it looks like in my arm. So you can visualize the size and see the size of that baby, you know, because now I know that there's certain things about babies that people don't want. So, you know, I need to make myself clear and be clear in my presentation of a baby when I want to sell it. So, yep, I think that's pretty much it in terms of my thinking and my thoughts for the day. And it's always good, you know, in a respectful way that I can talk about these things with my reborn sister friends and my reborn community here at Pumpkin Corner Nursery. Because feedback is always helpful, you know. No one knows everything. I sure don't. And it is always nice to hear another perspective and get people's opinions. Not necessarily that you're going to adhere to them, but it's nice to hear other people's opinions and to take other people into consideration, especially when that may be a potential customer or someone that you will work with in the future in terms of, you know, reborning and the hobby. So, we don't live in silos, so you have to kind of put yourself out there and be vulnerable sometimes. But anyway, hope you're having a great Monday, a great second day of the week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.